We talk about, look at how many people viewed him on YouTube. To do what? 2/3 of them probably made fun of him. 2/3 of those 30,000 views probably just said, what's this kid doing rapping? And out of what? And what did he reach him for? What in that song was glorifying to God? What in that song exalted Jesus? So we're just going to jump right up into it. I do want to put a shameless plug out there. If you guys are liking what you're hearing, then you need to share this with somebody and tell them they need to tune in because we cover all the topics here. I mean, first off, shout out to Jake and John last week on that episode, man. That beat was just nasty, John. You are the man, John Cuevas. And then Jake and, editing over there and doing everything that he do. We appreciate that. Jake celebrating his anniversary today. That's right. That's right. Believe it or not, he's been married, I think, like 8 or 10 years or something. That's good, Jake. We're super proud of you. All right, guys. So here it is. We're just going to get straight into it. Let's get into that sermon recap. So I talked about Bud Jonah, But God yesterday. And Jonah was having a pity party. He was mad at God because God did not smite his enemies. God did not kill his enemies. So I have a big question for today. And I said it yesterday, but I think we should expound on it. A lot of times as human beings, we want vengeance, but God wants a repentance. Is there a time, though, where vengeance is necessary? Does the punishment fit the crime? I'm going to argue with myself here because Jesus warned Peter, if you live by the sword, you will die by that sword. Put your sword away. So the question is sometimes that vengeance is needed? Is it warranted to have real justice? Or what are we looking for? What are we looking for? Anybody want to chime in on this one?
As individuals, I don't think you can ever do that.
Okay, so we're not going Cain Velasquez on people.
No. Yeah. So in terms of like the structure of your the community or like the government,
okay,
they can punish, but as an individual, you can't go and take advantage back yourself.
Okay, so you're saying right now Cain Velasquez is in trouble.
Yeah. I mean, we all want to do what he did, but you can't do it.
For those of you who don't know what he did, you need to Google Cain Velasquez. Got himself in a little bit of trouble. But he did what most people would have done. So just throwing that out there. But you're saying you can't take it into. You feel like Jonah wanted to take it into his own hands?
Yeah, you can't take it into your own hands. You can't do that. That's what the scripture is telling us you can't do.
Okay.
You can't just go and say, "Hey, you did me wrong. All right, I'm gonna go do you wrong."
So it's not an eye for an eye.
It's not an eye for eye no more.
Isn't there a scripture that says, "Vengeance is mine"?
Say it, the Lord.
Yeah.
Okay. But man, I want it bad. Oh yeah.
So what do you think, Bill?
Oh man, I would lean with DeShawn, but certainly there are certain times that we can probably justify getting some vengeance there for sure. And so I think you asked us yesterday about just one individual and not a list,
right?
And so I certainly have a list, and the thing for me yesterday, I think you touched on it. There's a certain person that you've forgiven, but then when you saw them again.
Right.
That those feelings came back up.
So that was real.
That was real for sure. I'm certainly have been there. I'm there now.
Right.
And so I know for sure for me, there are certain things that I need to go check myself in regards to that person. And so that really hit me for yesterday. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mike, what you thinking?
Well, yeah. I mean, I was talking to you guys about how Saturday night I was literally starting to write a message on how angry I am and all the different.
Did you have a title for that message?
I did. Why so mad? Just because I realized that just kind of in the season that we've been going through the last about a year and a half of just how if unchecked, like I'm just really angry.
Okay.
And a lot of the stuff that you had talked about yesterday too, it brought up some of those same feelings of like, you feel like people got away with it.
Yeah, that's real.
And it's like and then feeling as though things aren't fair. Mm-hmm. And if unchecked, like I realize the only thing that's really changing in this situation is my heart and who I am.
Right.
And it's if I'm supposed to walk this out, if I'm supposed to be the best husband I could be, if I'm supposed to be the best dad I could be, I can't allow these circumstantial things to change me.
Right.
And I've got to get to a place where I'm okay with and I give it to God and believe that vengeance really is going to come from him. And whatever it looks like, it's going to look like that. Because if I don't, I'm realizing that I'm changing, and I don't want to be like that.
Okay, so I think we just hit on a couple different things, but I think I want to piggyback what you said, Bill. I think this happens to a lot of people. I said it repeatedly yesterday. Sometimes you have to wait for your feelings to catch up to your faith, or your feelings to catch up to your forgiveness. And I think a pure indication of that is you're saying you forgive this person, but yet when you bump into them, they automatically put a knot in your stomach. They make your fist, they make your hands clench up to a fist. Like you can feel that energy. Like, man, I must not have forgiven you. So I feel like socking you. And so we have to understand. So what do we do in the meantime when we realize that our feelings do need to catch up to what we're really trying to do, which is forgive the person? How are we supposed to live? Do we avoid them? Do we continue to pray for them? I mean, what? And I'm not going to be that over spiritualized person here that says, yeah, I pray for my enemies. Yeah, I pray they get a flat tire. I pray like 10,000 fleas bite them or something. You know what I mean? I'm not really praying that they get blessed and get this new job and new car. I think people who say that, I look suspect at them like, really? You're really praying they get this new house? I don't think so. So what do we do when we're waiting for our feelings to catch up to our forgiveness and what we know we're supposed to do? Because the Bible is very clear. If you don't forgive, how is your Father supposed to forgive you? I don't know how anybody ducks that. You cannot duck that if you believe in the power of the cross. So what do we do in the meantime, in between time, when it's awkward? Anybody?
I mean, the hard problem that I have is I don't want to see anyone go to hell, even my worst enemies. Like, I don't have an issue with that.
Okay, see, I don't think I'm there yet. I truly feel like there's been a few people I'm like, man, you owned it. You better, that's where you're going to go.
But at the same time, there's people who are still doing the same evil things.
Right.
That if I see, I got words for them.
Okay.
But I don't want them to go to hell, but I got something to tell you.
All
because to me, you're just a fraud.
Okay.
And so, so it's like the balance of that, like, hey, I want to see you to come to salvation, but also I want to tell you something too.
Okay.
So I don't know if that's unforgiveness or not, but I mean, that's just,
all right.
I don't know. That's something I got to pray about.
Okay.
So I guess for me is, what do you do when you got some things corrected, right?
Right.
You approach that person. So I'll give you an
Right.
example. I approached the person and said, look, man, we've had this run-in. We talked about it.
Right.
And then a couple weeks later, you find out they did some more things. Right? And so all these feelings come back up. And so do I have to go back up to that person again and talk about those issues that arise? Or how does that work?
Okay, so here's a biblical question. Paul said, I handed this person over. He literally said, I handed this person over to who? To Satan. Mm-hmm. Mike, you want to chime in on that? When is the point that we hand somebody over to Satan? That he might learn a lesson. Or you got somebody you'd like to hand over?
Well,
because you're looking at me like you got a list here, like Bill.
My list, I think, has already been hanging out with Satan. They kicking it. And then I notice the verbiage that he uses. It is directed. He's saying, I handed him over off to Satan,
right,
or to Satan, but he's not saying that he is now giving vengeance.
That's true. That's true. He did not say he did vengeance.
So he's giving them over.
Okay, so what's that mean? To you, what does that mean? He handed them over.
Well, you stop having the conversation.
All right. Well, the Bible does tell us the levels how we are to handle that. This conversation. First, you go to your brother, then you bring another church brother with you or sister with you, and then you bring them before the congregation of elders. And after that, what does it say? Do away with them. Yeah. Do away with them.
Treat him as an unbeliever.
Treat him as an unbeliever. So there is a process to this. There is a process to this. So here's my question. My question to you is, I think most people don't even do the first step, which is confront the person. Why? Why is that? Even Jonah is begrudgingly not wanting to confront the people of Nineveh. So what's inside of us that we do not want to handle business? We don't want to confront it.
I mean, people just hate confronting people in general.
Okay.
So I'd rather just hide it. I'd rather just run away from that person. If it's a Sunday morning, I have an issue with someone on my team, you know what? I ain't going to talk to that person no more. I'm going to avoid them at all costs. It's a big thing that I always feel like you're in the church. So when you have like family that's blood, you're mad for a little bit, but you eventually come and work it out.
Right.
A lot of the times. But when it comes to church, you're just like, you really don't see that as your brother and sister. You're just like, I'm out. Forget you guys. Church people always do the same thing. It's like, man, you and your family do the same thing all the time. You guys make up. You're fighting every month.
So true.
Ain't no difference here.
Yeah, so true. So true. Well, I think, the way Jonah ended and, should I not care about 120,000 people to know the right hand from the left hand and all the animals too? I think that really it ended on purpose that way, to leave us hanging and to be wrestling out these questions right here. I don't think there's no fix all here. I think we need to follow what the Bible tells us to follow, and the rest of it we're working it out as we're in process with our salvation, right? Because this isn't just an easy 1-2 step. This is something that needs to take place. But let's transition. We'll hold that there, because I have a question. I've been thinking about this. They say the two things you should never talk about are are religion and politics. But I noticed in sports, it has become very, very political. Very political. I'll prove it to you. I think it was 10 or 12 years ago now that Tebow took a knee. And because he took a knee, they're like, oh my gosh, what is he doing? And he was like, okay, I'm giving all glory to God. Fast forward 10 years after that, Kaepernick takes a knee, and they're going, oh my gosh, what is he doing it for? Both men took a knee. But like the two things you are not allowed to talk about. You are not allowed to talk about politics. You're not allowed to talk about religion. But yet we see the convergence of that now in sports. Now it's full on political. I don't care what anybody says. It's full on political, especially depending on what season you are in politically. It gets heightened to the next level. But now, should we step it up when it comes to our faith? Is there a way now, like, hey, if you already opened up Pandora's box on the politics, can we open up Pandora's box in the sense of talking about our faith, what our faith means to us, and how we believe Jesus is going to return, because he's a return of the king here. He's a soon coming king. I don't know, but I feel like if we're going to talk about politics, then we ought to be able to talk about faith, because here's why. It's coming. When you start seeing when you start seeing the introduction of transgender swimmers, which is guys who fill their girls and they're swimming with the girls, you got believers out there going, that's not how God created us. So whether we like it or not, we're going to have to talk about this. So I want to bring it up today. What role does faith, and what lane should it be in when it comes to sports? Your faith. And then what role should politics be in when it comes to the sports you play? And what about us, the people who just enjoy sports? What say us? So what role should your faith play if you are a professional athlete?
Well, I think that's going to be up to the athletes, I would like it if more athletes stood up and spoke about their faith, because it seems like it's maybe one or two on a team, right? And I think a lot of teams have their own set Bible studies, and they get together and men of faith. But they might feel like if they get out there and they speak about their faith, they're going to be put in this category, right?
Okay.
And so yeah, there certainly is a place for to speak about.
Should it be front and center?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, again, it's up to that individual. If you're putting God before your sport, sure, absolutely, they should talk about it.
Okay, so if you're a Steph Curry, you need to be talking about how the shoes made in China are made by cheap labor, and they're still enslaving the Uyghurs, a religious group of people. Like, they've enslaved them. They basically have been brutally attacked. They've been subjugated to the Communist Party of China. You think they should talk about it? You think Steph Curry should come out? He's a believer.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's easy for Steph Curry to get out there in front of that. Right?
Why is it not easy?
That money.
Yeah, those yeah, exactly. So those,
start messing with that
money.
money.
So I have to do it again. I have to do it again because I've done it every episode. So you're telling me cash rules everything around me? Cream, right?
It's up to that. It's up to that individual, right, and their family, and how much they want to talk about their faith, and what that does for advertisements, right? What that does for maybe their game, and so. Like I said, it's not easy. It's not easy for these guys to get out there and talk about it.
What role?
What'd you think?
They have to be courageous to do it.
Oh yeah.
Because they're going to get immediately they're counseled just because of their faith, and especially because of the individual person. So Chick-fil-A can stand it because their chicken's so good. So people are like, I'm not eating Chick-fil-A for, a week, 2 weeks. I'm like, you know what? I really want a chicken sandwich. So they go to Chick-fil-A. But it's easy just to get on, social media and it's like, hey, screw Steph Curry. Try to counsel him. It's easier to do that. So he has to come out, especially where he's playing at. So, I mean, it's going to be a big deal for him to come and do that. So he has to have the courage to do that.
Okay. What about you? What do you say?
Yeah, you have to be courageous. You have to be willing to you're going to get hit when it comes to your endorsement deals. Because nobody's going to want to be attached to you. Very few endorsement deals are going to want to be attached to you.
Okay.
And then, so you got to be able to be okay with the money. That's one of the biggest things.
So I guess where I'm coming from is, so when do you take the stand for your faith? So like we saw that guy who swam with the girls. I think his name's Leah Thomas was his. I don't know what his real name, his birth name was. But we saw that, and I noticed that a good portion, like the majority of the NFL, NBA, all the big sports, Major League, they were quiet on that. They were quiet. And they didn't say, when these are professional male athletes who know there's a biological advantage over this, and they said nothing. It's like, then why did God give you a platform? Why do you call yourself a believer? This is just what I'm asking. Why can you sit there quietly when you know there's a biological advantage? You could take all the testosterone blockers and all the estrogen boosters you want, but biologically you are 6'4" with dense bone mass. I mean, come on, guys. Why don't you stand up in your faith, and why don't you say something? I'm telling you, the day is coming when you're going to have to talk about your faith. And yes, it's going to intertwine with politics now because they have forced us to do this. So why not find the courage now? Because you definitely ain't going to have it later if you don't have it now.
I think a lot of them look at their career in a very small window, especially like NFL players.
Okay.
And it's like here today, gone tomorrow. On the cover of Madden 1 year, next year
don't be on the cover of Madden. Usually you get hurt if you're on the cover of Madden.
And then 2 years later, the next year I'm not even in the league anymore.
Right.
It just takes one incident or one team to throw shade on your name, and then you're completely out of the league. And so I think a lot of them are looking at this as like, hey, does this directly affect me in my career? In the window that I have, and if it doesn't, then I'm not even going to touch it. Now, maybe after my career, I become, a Pat McAfee type, where I become a big name and I have a podcast and I push out my opinion on a lot of stuff. But I think when it comes to like their actual window of their career, all they're trying to do is get paid and win games.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no, they're so I think we put our athletes on this platform, then we look to them for guidance. But let's look at ourselves. Right. Am I this way in my office?
Okay.
Am I the one that's standing out? Because there are times you have to be courageous to speak about your faith at your job.
All right.
Right. And so we're asking them to go out there and speak about their faith, because they're in front of TV and everything. But are we doing that ourselves when we're around coworkers or family and things? Do we show our faith? Do we talk about our faith in front of them?
Okay.
And so
that's fair point. Yeah. Fair point.
Yeah, I was going to say it's hard for me to call out any athlete to do that. It's just something it's hard for me to say like, hey, you should be doing this. My question to them would be like, what is the Lord leading you to do?
Okay.
In that way, but it is important. It is something we need because we look at all these other people who are standing on the other side saying support them, and they're so vocal and they feel so empowered. It's like, why do they feel so empowered when we have the truth? And so we do need other people to stand up and say, like, hey, no, you need to fight with us too.
Yes.
Because you do have the platform. But for me to say, hey, certain people should be doing it, I don't know. But we do need that because now it's courageous to stand for that side. It's like, no, it isn't. Like, you're believing the lie. Like, this is the truth. Standing for the truth is what's courageous. And so we do need people to stand for the truth.
Well, I feel like courage is at a premium. Like, I feel like this has been the theme in our the last few years is courage is at a premium. In other words, it's obviously it's not with everybody. It's not something that's innate and within everybody. And we're watching this. And here's the thing that I have a little pushback. I kind of disagree with all of you. Who gave you your gift and talent? That gift and talent came from God. And what you do with that gift and talent is the measure in which you worship God. So I don't understand why some of those athletes who say they are believers, when the whole All-Star game is going to be in North Carolina, and all that governor said is there's going to be a men's restroom, a women's restroom, and then an all-gender restroom, so everybody can feel included. And all of a sudden the NBA said, hey, we're going to boycott it because people should choose whatever bathroom they want. No, a grown man is not going in the bathroom with my daughter. That's just, I don't care how he identifies. I don't care if he identifies as a little puppy. He ain't going in there. And for those of you who have daughters, you know exactly what I'm saying.
Right.
You ain't going in. So if you are an NBA athlete, why did you not back the governor and say, hey, there's nothing wrong with having 3 different bathrooms? What's the big deal? But instead, you allow the full force of the NBA to put that weight on and literally move what was going to happen. I don't get that. That's what I'm saying. What are you doing with your platform? God gave you, if you really think your career is that quick to rise, quick to fall, then wouldn't you rather influence the masses for what is eternal? We've lost our perspective of what's eternal. You're going to have to account for that gift. When you go see Jesus, if he is really your Lord and not your lie, you will have to answer to him why you did not use your influence.
Absolutely. But it also takes, it would be easier if Christians got behind that person, that athlete. You know, if they got out there in front of everybody.
Okay, but what do men follow? What do men follow? Go quote Braveheart. Men don't follow leaders. Men follow courage. Courage is what makes you a leader.
I think so. I think if you just had a few, that's all it's going to take. A group of men in these arenas to take that step, and I think everybody might get behind them. You know. What do you think, Mike?
Well, I mean, we're sitting in it right now. Where if you look at our instance of where our church is at and what we're up against, where's the courage in the Big C Church in Fresno?
There ain't none.
So it's like we're looking for athletes to do something that our own pastors in the city of Fresno can't do.
Okay, well, let's just segue there. Let's just go. We're talking about doing the right thing. We're talking about courage. We're talking about being a leader who's willing to put it out there, right? We're going to segue to that. I'm glad you brought it up. I want to bring up today's hot topic that I think is starting to get a lot of buzz here. Stephen Furtick. Stephen Furtick's son is put out a rap album. Is
it good? Is it good?
No, it's not good.
Oh, okay.
It's unfortunate. It's not good. And as a lover of hip hop, he needs a lot of work. The thing is, his name is, I think it's .dash or it's .the dash, or I don't even know what it is. But the whole point is, there's a lot of buzz because I guess apparently, which he did, Stephen Furtick promoted his son's album, which talks about drinking and smoking and doing a drive-by and partying. And here is, sorry, Stephen Furtick. I mean, you're a cool dude. At least you seem like it. But your son grew up in suburban America. I don't know what he knows about thug life and hood life.
He's not doing drive-bys?
He's not doing drive-bys.
Super soakers.
Throwing some eggs, maybe?
Yeah, he's TP'd a few houses, I suppose. But he's lived in a mansion his entire life on like 5 acres, secluded. Probably drove, his dad's dirt bike or something. I don't know. But it's like, what are we doing? His mom's promoting it. His dad's promoting it. Apparently, one of the people on staff shot the video of him trying to talk about all this stuff. Wow. It's like, I agree with you. What happened to the church? It's like we lost our moral compass and we lost our voice and we lost our courage. We got people who are tracing platforms, popularity, and all these other social media things, but they're not chasing wisdom, knowledge, understanding, and they're not chasing God's holiness. What is going on right now? What is going on? That's the question.
People rather be free. They don't want to chase after God's holiness. I think that's good how you said it. Like, you're not seeing how can I get closer to God? How can I look more like God? It's like, no, what can I get away with? How much freedom can I have? And I like what you said about the moral compass, because super liberal people love Martin Luther King. They love this dude. But he said the church is supposed to be the moral compass of our community.
Amen.
And it's like, what are you talking about? You love Martin Luther King. You should hate him. He's for us, not you. Like, you tripping. But the church has gotten away from that. It was like, no, we should see how can I look more like God? How can I be more? And Derek Carr, he talked about like in his faith, a big thing, man, people keep talking about how great of the guy is.
Right.
And behind it, they know it's his faith, but they don't want to mention that. But how he keeps coming back in all his teammates.
Right.
He is showing his light. He is chasing that holiness of God. It is being shown, even though people want to deny his faith, They don't want to. They want to block out that part, but you can't deny him because you see the good work that he does. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I think what's different now is I think we live in a kind of maybe a social media world where it's how we look.
All right.
How we look into everybody else, and so maybe if Stephen Furtick's son and he has to maybe look like the world, and so he has to rap about certain things, right, to be popular and maybe gain this platform. I'm not so sure what's going on there. Maybe he's just trying to be supportive of his son, right? But maybe going about it the wrong way. I don't know.
Wow, that's okay. Supportive. All right.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it in the terms of athletics, how if you come out and you make a stance, there's going to be consequences. Because
right.
I was teaching my kids about consequences in the car today. You do something, there's going to be something that happens because of that.
All right.
And so if you look at the Christian community, there has been such a wave of anti-Jesus, right? Getting away from things that are actually biblically sound. And it's so loud that if you push against that, there's going to be consequences. And I don't think that people really want those consequences. People are worried about church attendance already because of COVID, right? And what happens with church attendance? People are worried about getting canceled. I don't want to be the person that they go out and, dox, on social media. People don't want to be that. They don't want to be the guy who gets protested. They don't want to be the guy that gets put in the headlines for standing up for their faith. They would like things to continue just as they are.
So what I'm hearing you guys say is your courage, your character, and integrity is for sale.
100%. Well, not mine.
Not mine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, sure.
But that's what I'm hearing is I think you can support your kids and still not approve of what they do.
And I think a hard part too is finding the balance of being not so religious, but not falling to the side of being super liberal. You just let go of everything. Because always in church, it was talking about the Pharisees, don't be like them. And so automatically we just go to this other side where we find all this freedom. And do you find yourself too free? It's like you free of Jesus too right now. Like you need some Jesus back in your life. You need some of that back. They find it hard to find that balance in that.
So I guess what I'm pushing on right now is when you have a prominent pastor start pushing stuff like this, you are once again platforming and putting in the circle that you should be a platform chaser, that it's about Instagram followers, it's about a platform on TikTok or whatever the newest thing is, right? You start reinforcing that belief that it's about a pulpit and a platform, but it's not about the wisdom. It's not about finding a sage and learning from them. It's not about, once again, the holiness of God, but it's all about what's my next big break, what's my next big thing that can go viral. And what we've done is we've created a generation that doesn't know how to stand for truth, that doesn't know how to stand there and fight and stand their ground. Where are the people who are forging ground? Who are saying, listen, you go build your church out in the suburbs, but put my church right next to the gates of hell, and I will build a steeple. I will build a church for the Lord right there. I will be snatching people from the fire. But it's like we all just want to run to the hills where it's safe, get our plot of land. No, come back down to the hood. Come back down to the barrio. Come back down and put a church right dab smack in the middle of the enemy's kingdom and show him what's up. But no, we're too busy trying to make rap albums. You ain't got no business making a rap album. That'd be my opinion. You can tell I'm very passionate about this.
But can you use rap albums to reach people?
Who is he reaching with his 15 years of life?
He might still be going to church. You're like,
he can reach people. I mean, he has the influence. I mean, he had a ton of views on YouTube. I mean, he got one from me.
Look at what we're doing. Look at wow, wasted 3.5 minutes of your life.
I did.
But listen to what we're saying. He's reaching. Okay, he's reaching. How many people did we really reach over social media platforms that had a true conversion as compared to opening up your church doors and telling people to come in to experience the presence of God? We talk about, look at how many people viewed him on YouTube. To do what? 2/3 of them probably made fun of him. 2/3 of those 30,000 views probably just said, what's this kid doing rapping? And out of what? And what did he reach him for? What in that song was glorifying to God? What in that song exalted Jesus? See, even our gauges are off.
Yeah, but is that their front door though? I get you with a little bit of, my little rap, but then you end up coming to church. Step by
Front door
step.
to what?
To the church.
How
The
is that-
elevation. Then next you come to the club inside.
Well,
Yeah.
But I say that's an extreme. I don't agree with what I'm saying. But it's
I don't agree with what
But people can argue that. They can
Right.
argue even they come into our church.
Right.
Like, hey, all this lights, all this music. I guess I ask, like, what's the balance? How should we bring people in? When is it you going too far?
well, he's definitely going too far. I mean, that.
Well, yeah, without a doubt. He's going too far. Yeah. I mean, he already a
Sometimes
white
you
dude
just
trying to
go too
rap.
much.
He already might be going too far.
That was racist. Okay, I'm offended.
Hey, Eminem, I accept him. The rest of them, I don't know.
Doing too much. Okay, so let's talk about this. We keep talking about courage. Where's the courage to stand up for things? Mike, I told you we was going to get back to it. We're going to dive into it. So I feel like this, and maybe I could be wrong. We're talking about the tower subject. Thanks for tuning in to Not Offended Podcast. It's that time to talk about the tower. I literally wrote this in my paper. Is what we're experiencing a spiritual attack? Is it really spiritual? Two things I want to say. It popped up on my feed the other day. About a year ago this time, somebody came and painted a pentagram, a satanic pentagram on our C train out here where we always put the murals that glorify Jesus, and literally painted the pentagram and put in the numbers, the whole nine, and did a little like sacrifice right in front of it. Had the whole thing on my social media. And then yesterday I go out to the front of the church, and there's a witch out there doing a spell. I could see her. She was doing her incantations. She was moving her hands. She was doing her stuff. And it led me to think that this is spiritual. This isn't just physical. It's just not about a city council that is just beyond disingenuous. And it's not about a mayor who won't stand up for a church. It goes beyond that now. It's about people who are being influenced by the enemy. And I think this is more spiritual. So here's my question. Where is the courage of the church to stand up and say, listen, we're not going to allow this to happen. We're not going to allow another church to be targeted for how many weeks it is. Where is the church? Pastors, where are you? Any thoughts?
People are just deceived. They think it's just simply a physical battle. They don't realize it's a spiritual war. I mean, it's what Paul warns about, but people just don't think about that or even consider it. They see is, this Mexican church trying to get into Tower Theater. They should just go somewhere else. That's all they see. They don't realize that this is a spiritual battle. If you can see everything going on in our culture right now and how people are coming against the church and our views and our beliefs, and think that's not tied to this, you're just blind. You're a blind shepherd leading your sheep.
Wow.
And it's unfortunate.
Wow.
Yeah, 100% spiritual. Just with the protesters, their narrative has changed a few times, right? And they've tried to mask it over, it's about zoning. And then it's about liquor licenses. And so they keep changing it up. But the underlying issue here is spiritual. They don't want a church at the Tower Theater. That's it. They don't want God's words being preached over there. And so they don't want people to be reached for the Lord. Right.
Well, it's funny you say, check this out. I had a member of our church say this to me yesterday. He's Hispanic and he's a business owner, a very well-to-do business owner. And he said, Anthony, I don't get it. The mayor stands for so many things. I mean, I was just remembering about this time last year, he was raising the gay flag and pride awareness and all this stuff. And I remember the whole thing is that we talk about the black people need to have a safe space and the gay people need to have a safe space. And this is what he tells me. He goes, where's the Mexican safe space? Where do the Mexicans get to go? Where's our area? Where are we allowed to buy property? Where are we allowed to buy homes? And this is a business owner, a very well-to-do business owner. And I go, well, I don't know. I don't have that answer. He goes, can somebody ask the mayor? Mayor, where's the Mexican safe space? Where's that at? Why aren't we allowed to buy property that really we should be allowed to buy? Why does the city feel the need to interfere? What did we do? If it's about creating safe spaces, where's our safe space? Because if you ask me, everybody talks about redlining. We're being redlined. Does anybody notice? Does anybody notice there's redlining? Hello? Should I go out with my own banner? Hello, we're being kicked out. We're being redlined. Does anybody care? Where's the church? Where's the courage? Anywhere but here for adventure is what they say. Anywhere but here. That sounds awfully racist to me. I don't know. Anybody?
Yeah. I mean, by the way, I'm still waiting for the black safe place too. Okay. So you said that's already occurred? You let me know where that's at. Is it on the map or what?
I don't know. I thought that was on the west side. I thought it was on the west side.
Okay.
I ain't from here.
All right. Go ahead, Mike.
Oh, you just give it to me. Okay. Go ahead. Go ahead. You all safe over there. Go ahead. You know, I think that people are afraid of the fight. They don't want it. Look, if you take a step back, the last 2 years have been really difficult for any church. And right now, people are looking for wins.
All right.
And they're like, what me getting into this battle, like if I'm a pastor, right? Like me getting into this battle, is it going to benefit my congregation?
All right, fair enough.
Right? So they're looking at that. Is this going to be beneficial to us? Because there's a good chance that we could be next. But unfortunately, I don't think people are thinking about that. Because, yes, you're right. There is a good chance that you're going to be next.
For sure.
You know, like if you are fooling yourself if you think that you have a quote-unquote Christian mayor, believing mayor, who is allowing this to happen to a Bible-believing church, that you're not next. You want to go and develop property next to somebody else's quote-unquote safe space. All right, well, then you're next. Maybe you get sold out like the way he sold us out.
Maybe.
I mean, maybe you just give more than 30 shekels. I don't know. But he treats us like Judas. He'll treat you like it too.
Yep. I don't disagree. I think that's very interesting. You know, I'm watching. There's a church up north building a huge building on a giant piece of property, and I'm just like, man, that must be nice. No protesters on the weekend. You probably don't have to jump through very many hoops. You know, this is good. We're going to celebrate with a ribbon cutting. You know, this is nice. Must be nice. Must be nice to be, a suburban white church. I don't know. I've never had that feeling. And I say that with tongue in cheek because I'm like, where are we at? I thought we're all brothers in Christ. I thought we all stand arm in arms. I thought that's what we do. And yet nobody can show me what we did wrong. Now, one person, I get it. Now, there are people who I don't like that Anthony guy. He's just arrogant. Okay, but show me what I did wrong in my transaction. Show me, all you're doing is ad hominem. All you're doing is talking about who I am as a person with my personality, not my actions, because my actions have done nothing wrong. If you're going to judge me by my actions and what we've done up until this point. Don't talk about just because the way my personality is. Well, what if I don't like your personality? That makes us even, right? And I think that's the part that's being missed. We are in a spiritual fight, and the church is tucked tail.
Yeah.
But here, I totally agree with you, Mike. What's going to happen? Today it's me, tomorrow it's you. But I got news for you, because tomorrow I'll at least have your back. Because we are writing the winning playbook, and we are not going to stand down. We're not going to bend. We're not going to bow. So therefore, we're not going to break. We're going to keep going, no matter how much they turn up the heat. No matter what happens, we're going to continue to lift up the name of Jesus, because I know who wins in the end. Jesus always wins in the end. He is Kyrios Soter. He is Lord and Savior. If you don't believe me, just go ask Caesar. Go ask Rome. They will tell you who wins in the end. Jesus always comes out victorious. But I'm saying to you right now, the courage of men is failing. Today it's us, tomorrow it's you. If they are victorious in canceling us out, they will continue to push the boundaries. When are we going to learn that other side has that tenacity that the church should have?
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Yep.
Could you imagine if we went as Christians and stood out in front of an all-gay place for 62 weeks? This should be national headlines.
Man, I was thinking about that yesterday as someone's recording in front of our church. I was like, what if we went out Friday, Saturday night in front of a gay club and took a picture of every person that walks in there and record that and throw that on YouTube? I wonder what would happen. People would be so upset.
Oh, yeah. Could you imagine signs, you're going to hell?
Yeah. I saw a sign yesterday. It said, Abort Adventure Church.
Abort Adventure Church.
Yeah.
So you bring up a good point. So we had a guy yesterday who specifically targets people at our church, especially women and kids. And we can't get nobody to do nothing. But if we were standing out in front of any gay bar in the Tower District and all we did was record people's license plates and recorded their faces and recorded whoever they showed up with to put it on a YouTube channel, this city would be up in arms. Every council member would be doing something. The mayor would be showing his face because it's a good publicity stunt. But when it comes to Adventure Church, people can get away with whatever they want. But yet we're still victorious. God still backs us. Because why? Because we realize that it's not about theology, it's about neology. It's about us praying and winning the battle in the spiritual. But I'm saying to the church, this could be our finest hour, locking arm in arm, talking about we're not going to allow this to happen because there's nothing illicit, nothing wrong. There's nothing disingenuous about this deal. Nothing.
And the thing that man, I want to make sure that we convey is that we're not victims.
No,
like we're not a victim
all.
in this situation. Like I don't care what the council says. I don't care what the mayor does. It doesn't matter. We're not victims. Because we choose to follow Christ and doing everything according to his will, we're going to be victorious. That's why I want our church to know that we are going to be victorious, whatever the outcome is.
That's right.
God is going to work this out in our favor.
That's right.
And that's why I can't even understand why other churches want to come behind us. Come call us, ask us, are we doing everything right? We can tell you that we are. And you come back us and you're going to see that you're going to be part of a winning team, that we are going to have victory. We're not a victim at all in this situation. My dad taught me I'm not a victim because I'm black. We're not a victim because we're Christians. We know we have the victory, period. So we don't have to be concerned about that. But we just want to tell people how we're being done wrong, but we're going to win. They will lose.
And the only reason we're trying to tell people how we're being done wrong is because you're next. You're next. That's the only reason we're trying to bring awareness. Because we are not a victim. We have been here 11 years. We've never once had a victim mentality because we know victory is in Jesus. All we're trying to do is shine the light that if they can do this to us, they can do it to you. That's all we're trying to do. Yeah. But I'll look anybody in the eye and I'll say, hey, everything we've done up to this part has been above board. It's been above board. We have not compromised our standard. When people have asked us to compromise, we have not compromised our standards. And that's just the truth of where it is. All right, guys, check this out. This has been a hot one. If you've been waiting for some skinny on the tower, this has been the episode. So I need y'all to do me a favor. I need you to make sure you just reach out. Maybe share it with a pastor you know. Maybe share it with them and say, hey, listen, we're just trying to get support. We're just trying to keep it real. Tell everybody what's really going on. What the media won't report, we're trying to give to you in truth today. Because we know Jesus said he will bring everything to the light. Yep. This has been the Not Offended podcast. We're coming at you every Monday. So we're going to be back here next week with some hot topics. God bless you guys. Don't forget, Easter Sunday's coming around the corner. You need to invite somebody. Peace.